I'm Bob Ryan. This is Globe 10.0. With me today is Chad Finn. Well, Chad, by far the biggest news in sports today. Tony La Russa has announced a retirement. Kind of caught people by surprise. In our little limited time here, put Tony La Russa's career into focus for me.
It's one of the greatest managerial careers in baseball history. He's third all-time in wins. He's won 3 championships. Probably his greatest legacy is the bullpen specialist. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, that's what he's always going to be remembered for.
We're not going to have a huge disagreement here. I'm just going to point out that only 3 men have won World Series in both leagues, and they are Sparky Anderson, Jim Leyland, and Tony La Russa. Of course, Jim Leyland is a Tony La Russa protege, if you didn't know. That's a fact. The legacy, I agree with Chad, because the legacy that he left, as opposed to the, the numbers are going to be there. He's marching into the Hall of Fame at the first available opportunity, okay? He's the 3rd winningest manager of all time. He's won 3 World Series. But he has changed the game over the last 25 years, ever since 1988, 23 years, yeah, when he reinvented the concept of closer to his own liking with Dennis Eckersley. More than any person has singly changed the game without playing it in the history of the game. There is no one else who has ever significantly altered the way the game was run and as much as Tony La Russa has, because everybody follows the La Russa pattern now. Closers,
exactly.
Ninth inning with a lead. And he started that. You have to understand, youngins, it wasn't always that way.
And he still takes it to more of an extreme than most people do, where you saw in the postseason, if his starter didn't have it, or if a bad matchup was coming up in the 4th inning, he's out and he's playing matchups the rest of the game. Sometimes that's annoying, but when it works the way it's supposed to work, it's really an interesting thing to watch.
Now, I'm going to have to say, I don't think it would be remiss, I think, if we didn't point out that there's one little taint, and maybe not so much of a little taint, that a lot of people are going to have problems with in assessing his legacy, and that is that he was the manager for Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire in Oakland when we think things were going on with steroids, and he was Mark McGwire's manager, yeah, in the big home run time, and he has now told the world what he thinks of all that by rehiring Mark McGwire. A lot of people are going to hold that against him.
Yeah, they'll hold that against him, and I think that's just. The other thing I think that it's not tarnishing him, but it's sort of a negative, is that he lost with some teams that should have won. 88, certainly. 90, they got swept by the Reds, which, looking back, was a really talented team, but Oakland was loaded.
I got to point out one thing, that he was swept twice as often as he did sweep. Interestingly, by the way.
2004 wasn't bad
twice swept and 1 sweeping. All right, but still, going to the Hall of Fame. We congratulate him on a great career. And Tony La Russa, just hope, don't be pulling any Brett Favres on us. You say you're out of here? Stay out of here.